You know, I gotta say, I am terribly glad that none of the videos that I'm gonna address today were addressed towards me, or else I'd put a hell of a lot more time into it than what I am. But the reason why I even got started in discussing most of my content right now being flat earth is because of Simon Dan and Conspiracy Cats and FTFE. FTFE over week received this awful letter from some freaking, no, I'm not gonna say that word because then I might get banned, but I like making fun of my own race, and I know we're living in such a generation that you gotta watch every little thing you say or else it bothers somebody. And yeah, God, I pray for the next generation, and after that we're gonna be an idiocracy. I already know it. But just saying the worst things about Craig, and then talking about his mom. I mean, who does that? And this is a guy who was in that retard's Eric Dubay's movie Level, and then he says something along the lines, oh, except for my mom. My mom's a good mom. Really? Because if you're talking like that to a person that you don't even know personally, and that just shares a different belief from than you do, then your mom's pretty fucking stupid. Because to raise you that disrespectful, you're just a little piece of shit, honestly. To be saying the things that you're saying to somebody like that, never in a million years would I tell somebody that. But after seeing what you wrote, and then saying that your mom's a good mom would teach your child as they grow up to be a man, which clearly you're not. You're probably like Mark Sargent, still living in your mother's basement, being brave behind a keyboard or a smartphone, talking all this crap, but up front, maybe with your little posse of flat earthers behind you, yeah, you might act like you have big cojones, but I guarantee you this, one-on-one, you're gonna just be this tiny little girly like bitch. And the words you used are awful. Now, like I said, this generation is so sensitive, and I'm not sensitive about it, but your wording of that word, I know a lot of people hate it, even men. And when you're talking about even men, and this is even before your generation or whatever generation, I don't know, God forbid you're older than, you know, God forbid you're in your 40s, or else shit, your mom really did a fucked up job raising you, because those are some really bad words. But yeah, you're just a little piece of shit. I wish to God you were saying those words to me, because I'm gonna teach you a lesson. But anyways, to move on, what is the name of that guy? Flat Earth Globe Denier? I believe that's him. Simon Dan was going over one of his videos about, once again, the ISS and harnesses. Now, I had two thoughts on it. Mind you, Simon Dan, he's a freaking genius. And he addresses it the way he addresses it. But then I had a couple questions in the back of my mind that if I were like a guest speaker on his show, I would ask. Usually, when people are on harnesses, and if you watch like the behind the scenes making of like Avengers Endgame or Infinity War or any of those movies, you know, you never see clothes being pulled. They don't composite or CGI out that. What they do is that they tailor the clothing so that whatever harness is there is not going to end up pulling the clothes this way, that way, to the side, downwards. And I should know. I worked in the music industry for, well, 19 years. Interned for 3. Then when I finally got my big break, I was an A&R representative for Sony Columbia Records. And then I got to see up hand, first close in Atlanta, on film studios, on sound stages, and then on movie stages and how they prop and how they harness and how they do this and how they do that. For one, you can't composite the way ISS is. So, I mean, the detail of it's just, yeah, you cannot composite something like that or CGI something like that. And you do know that they will use a green screen, sometimes a blue screen. In Predator, I know they had Jean-Claude Van Damme running around in a red, almost looked like a lobster, so red screen maybe. But you know, the typical colors that most electronics use to what is it, RGBY? Most of our phones, you know, LEDs, things like that, the color ranges of the spectrums that we can see. There's so many other colors that we can't see, i.e. black lights, so on and so forth. Millions and millions of other colors that we can't see. But he made a great point. You're not going to have a blue screen with squares in it and come out with a composite image that is going to actually look real. And for you to suggest that, look at this guy's on a harness, and you slow it down, you want to point out because his clothes is floating upwards. Now, just not one particular spot, but for one, how the hell are you going to rig a harness that is essentially, the man is, let's just say 6 foot, the harness would be 5 foot off the ground. Then you're going to have to run something upwards, which means that you're going to really have to brace the hell out of the 5 foot part of the harness, or just the string up, and the same up here, to carry the weight of this guy to go down sideways, you know, flat, you know, descending flat on his stomach, all that, and then to point out that his shirt is going up. You know why movie studios usually do that? Do you think Disney is just wealthier than most countries just because they make half-ass shit? I guarantee you NASA didn't turn to Disney and say, hey, why don't you guys, you know, let's make believe like there's this big thing and we'll just call it like, you know, the world's International Space Station. And in that conference room, a Disney board member, no, I got a better idea. Let's call it the International Space Station. Everybody's on board. They skipped Mickey Mouse Space Station just by one vote, but they got it right. Okay, so how are we gonna fake this? Well, we cannot create artificial gravity here on Earth, and obviously sound doesn't carry in water, so shoot, we're gonna have to use a green screen with harnesses. Okay, let's do that. We'll tap the best director, J.J. Abrams. Thank you for making up Star Wars so bad. And then what he can do is he could hire his own crew to harness up these supposed astronauts who are supposedly falling in orbit in space, of which is why they lose gravity and why they're floating around. But we'll just tell them that they're just, you know, we won't give them an explanation why or have them do any math, because we're dumbing them down. So when, you know, we take over, when the NWO takes over, you know, they'll be so stupid by that point. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just make the harnesses look half-assed. How about that? Level Earth Observer, you gotta come with better than something like that. That was the most pathetic piece of footage for you to claim that somebody is on a harness I have ever seen. And if you are the same fool that is using the Bible, man, please don't. I'm a non-denominational Christian. I say this in almost every single video of mine, which hardly has any views, and that's okay. I just started out. You got to get to a certain point somewhere, and hopefully I'll reach that point one of these days. I'm not expecting to be the biggest YouTuber in all the universes, but eventually I might have a video that might explode, but I'll tell you this much. I went to one of the top academic schools, top 10 academic schools in the nation for high school, only because of my ability to play football. I went there tuition free, didn't have to pay a single dime. And then I went on to college for another Division I, but they were also not Brigham Young University, but Texas Christian. Anyways, ended up having 2 broken vertebrae, but the NFL wasn't my dreams. My dreams were to work in music someday, and dream comes true. But the point I'm getting at is, I could go toe to toe with you on the Bible. Religion itself is man-made. The Bible is interpretation. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that God made a flat earth. If you're interpreting it like that, that's fine. But then let me ask you this. How do you interpret when it said God made the heavens up above, out of this atmosphere? So God made the heavens and the earth. So he wasn't only responsible for the earth, he was responsible for the heavens as well. Now that's for believers. Scientists, I'm not going to get in your way. You guys could believe in what you want to. I have no problem with that. One of the coolest thing is before I got divorced, which was awesome because, oh my gosh, it was an awful woman. We were going to this church that had a young church group for young married couples. And since we were a young married couple, there's another young married couple there. And we hit it off with them straight off the bat. And so I started telling them what I used to do for a living and what I do now. And then they told us what they do for a living, and I was like, oh my God, I got so many. See how excited I get? I was like, I have so many questions to ask you, but in due time. She was actually, at that time, the lead programmer and director for re-entry of the Orion space capsule when it was completed. They did run a test. And so whenever the Orion capsule positioned itself for re-entry, she led the team that programmed the Orion capsule to re-entry the Earth's atmosphere. She is literally a rocket scientist, and she's going to church. So the two can coexist, but don't push your beliefs onto somebody else. That's not cool. You could believe what you want to believe, but I don't put down, people who, are complete scientists. I don't put them down. They have their, series, and they could back up a lot of what they're talking about, and that's fine. Beliefs, religions, all that, I don't let that get in the way of things. You believe in what you believe in, but when you have irrefutable proof, like all the flat earthers or not flat earthers, but all the globe guys have proved to you time and time again, that's irrefutable. So when you start pulling out the Bible, you're making yourself sound like a dumbass because, one, God never said the earth was flat. And if you could point out one area where God said the earth was flat without any room for interpretation, I would love to hear it. There used to be a scientist that would actually, he was a professor at Denver Christian University, which wasn't too far from the church that I was attending. I no longer go to this church after we got divorced and all that. But he was the most interesting guy to listen to because he had science and religion. And the way he would speak about the two was just, I can't even do it justice by explaining it. But when you try to just say, oh, because God says so, or because of this, or because of that, you're making religious people look like idiots, because not all of us are the stupid ones holding a poisonous snake saying, oh, if God loves me, he's gonna make sure that this snake doesn't bite me. Well, you know what it says in the Bible, and this is not an interpretation? Don't test God. Some of those idiots get bit, and for good reason. So when you're using God and the Bible and your verses that are extremely open to interpretation, you make yourself look like the biggest idiot ever. So please stop it. If that's you, whatever your name was at the beginning, going on my rant, I already forgot, but Simon Dan, why you guys even try to challenge him? He busts you guys down, and look at what him, Conspiracy Cats, and FTFE did to Ranty. And Ranty was at least smart enough to see for himself. You guys are deniers. I want to know, how the hell did you guys, or who the hell had the resources to build a dome? Our atmosphere is made of gases, right? And you can't have a gas, you can't have any type of gas, near pressure. You have to have a container for that. Well, who the hell built the dome over the earth, and why don't we see it getting cleaned? Or, does it ever get dirty, or does the rain somehow float up there or something? You guys don't believe in gravity, so I don't know how it goes up. You guys could probably better explain that. But where'd you get the resources to build something that big is what I want to know. Did giants place it there? Did aliens? That might take a pretty damn big work crew to be out there, freaking, probably a lot of Mexicans, just using their wiping stuff and cleaning it away. Hell, I haven't seen any job offers yet. I love those jokes. Anyways, there are a lot of questions that you guys will never answer, and the questions that you guys do answer usually do with the most ridiculous experiments. My daughter is 4 years old, and I guarantee you, if I were to say, come here baby, look at this experiment that somebody's gonna do, she's gonna ask me, what's the experiment on? I'll tell her, just listen, and I guarantee you 30 seconds into it, she'll walk away out of pure boredom, or probably say, that's stupid. And it is. So, since you guys don't want to take the time to learn, you guys only want to get, your YouTube University certificate, hey, that's fine, that's up to you. That's what's making everything head towards idiocracy. But stop trying to challenge these big names in science. Because people like Eric Dubé, he might be great at yoga, but when it comes to flat earth and round earth, he's a fucking idiot. So, I had to say something. Y'all take care. Except for that little punk who was saying all those awful, awful words. Your mom is exactly what those awful words were. I don't like to use mama jokes, but I'm going back to that because you're saying that to someone you don't even know. I don't know you, so now I'm going to say that back to you. I have their back. For them, for you to be saying that, that's just highly rude. You're just a little piece of garbage who maybe got 5 seconds of fame off a stupid ass little movie called Level. That is completely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And I swear to God, I would love to have one of those competitions with you where you just bitch slap the hell out of somebody. Oh my goodness. I would allow you to go first with 2 of them. Please. And then when I get my turn, you would just run like a little girl. Because of that stuff that you say, that is horrible. And you're just nothing but scum, man. You're pure scum. You're a piece of, underneath my shoe. So, sorry for sounding animated today, but 2 guys that I talked about today, pure idiots. My name is Cisco. Sorry about today's video. Got a little heightened up, but hey, I hope the rest of y'all take care of one another. Be kind to one another. Love y'all. Take care.